Hello, children. Now, our reading selection for today is an expository text. Expository texts usually give us information and facts about something. Now, the title is Gray Wolf, Red Fox. And let's read the essential question. How do animals adapt to challenges in their habitat? And what does this mean? It means when animals face challenges or dangers in their habitats, in the places they live in, how do they change their behavior? Okay, let's begin reading. Did you ever see a photograph of a gray wolf or a red fox? Don't they look a lot like dogs? Aren't they fantastic looking animals? So here we are talking about gray wolves and red foxes, and the reading selection is telling us that they look like dogs. Okay, now this is not strange, this is not weird, because dogs, wolves and foxes come from the same family. Let's continue. Well, dogs, foxes and wolves are all related. They are all members of the same family. And while gray wolves and red foxes may look alike, they are different in many ways. Now, in this reading passage, we are going to use compare and contrast. Now, children, compare means to tell how two things are similar, and contrast is to say how two things are different. Okay, this is very important because we're going to notice compare and contrast all over the passage. And an example of compare is when you say Elsa and Una are beautiful, both of them, for example. So you are comparing, you are saying that they are both beautiful. Fine, but an example of a contrast is when you say Elsa is beautiful while the witch is ugly. This is a contrast in which you are telling how Elsa and the witch are different. Let's continue reading. Looks are everything. The gray wolf is the largest member, or a part, of the wild dog family. An adult wolf is the size of a large dog. The red fox is smaller and weighs less. Here we are having a contrast regarding size. So they are different in size. The three members of the family are different in size: the dog, the gray wolf, and the red fox. Both animals have excellent hearing. Now, whenever you use the word both, this means that you are comparing. You are telling how two things are alike. And here, the red fox has excellent hearing, and the gray wolf has excellent hearing. The red fox can even hear small animals digging holes underground. And you know why they have excellent hearing, children? So that they can survive or stay alive in a forest. And just take a look at those beautiful tails. The gray wolf and red fox both have long, bushy tails. And here we are comparing, right? The wolf's tail can be 2 feet long. The fox's tail is not as long, but has a bright white tip. In the winter, foxes use their thick, fairy tails as protection from the cold. So their fairy tails can protect them from the cold. This page, we are going to have other similarities and differences between the two animals. Let's read. Foxes and wolves also have thick fur. This is a similarity. Compare. Their coats can be white, brown, or black. However, now whenever you have the word however, be ready for a contrast, which means differences. However, red foxes most often have red fur, while a gray wolf's fur is usually more gray and brown. So there is a difference in color. Finding food. Gray wolves and red foxes live in many different habitats. They live in forests, deserts, woodlands, and grasslands. But as more people build roads and shopping centers, both animals have lost their homes. Of course, because people are building cities, they are cutting down forests and trees, and such animals lose their habitats. The red fox has adapted well, or made changes. Now, I will highlight this because it is very important. I will highlight it with green, and I will highlight this word also, and highlight it with green. Now, why did I highlight this? Because it is teaching us a very nice skill. Sorry, I should have highlighted the word changes. Made changes. Okay. So, suppose that you don't know the meaning of the word adapted, this word. Now, you are going to have a context clue, which is a word or a sentence that tells you its meaning. Let's read again. The red fox has adapted well or made changes. So, adapted has the same meaning of made changes, and we call this context clues. The red fox has adapted well or made changes to fit into its environment. And environment means the place we are living in, our surroundings. Now, more foxes make their homes close to towns and parks. Wolves, however, and when you see the word however, get ready for a contrast. Wolves, however, stay far away from towns and people. Foxes and wolves are not in competition for food, which means they do not eat the same food, and as a result, they do not compete for food. They have different diets, and diets means foods. Red foxes prefer or like to hunt alone and eat small animals, birds, and fish. They also like to raid, which means to attack garbage cans and campsites for food. Wolves work together in packs or groups. Here, in packs, if you don't know the meaning of the word packs, this context clue or groups can tell you that packs and groups are synonyms, which means they have the same meaning. To hunt large animals such as moose and deer. Day to day. Wolves live in packs of 4 to 7, and packs means groups. They do almost everything together. They hunt, travel, and choose safe places to set up dens for shelter. And a den is a hole where some animals live. And you know, shelter means home. Foxes, on the other hand, also look at this phrase, on the other hand. Now, whenever you see this, you must know that you're going to have a contrast, which means telling differences. Foxes, on the other hand, like to live alone. They usually sleep in the open, which means in the open, outside, or find an empty rabbit hole to call home. Both, whenever you see both, you must know that you are going to compare to tell how two things are alike. Both wolves and foxes communicate, which means speak to each other, by barking and growling. The gray wolf also howls to alert or warn other wolves. Excellent. Here we have another context clue. Suppose that you don't know the meaning of the word alert, or warn is going to tell you the meaning. It's going to tell you that alert and warn have the same meaning. Or warn other wolves when there is danger nearby. The red fox signals in a different way. Fine, which means it gives a signal, it gives a warning. In a different way, it waves its tail in the air to caution other foxes. Now, dear child, can you use context clues to know or guess the meaning of the word caution as a verb? The gray wolf and red fox are members of the same family and have many things in common. And when you say that like two things have many things in common, here you are comparing, telling how they are alike. But they are two very different animals. Okay, now it's very important to understand the ideas of any reading, selection, but what's more important still is to understand some comprehension strategies like reread. Now, whenever you are reading and you feel that you can't understand something, you got to reread it. And maybe you got to ask yourself questions and try to find answers to these. Also, compare and contrast. We spoke about this a lot and we found lots of examples in the passage. Compare means to tell how two things are alike, are similar, and contrast is to tell how two things are different. And look at these examples: wolves, foxes, and both. Both you have this is a comparison, because this is what they have in common. The wolf's tail can be 2 feet long. A fox's tail has a bright white tip at the end. These are differences, but what is overlapping here is a similarity. And on this page, we have the most important skill that you have to master, which is sentence clues. Now, you must look for words or phrases that tell you the meaning of words that you don't know. Fine, you must be careful about this, because using a dictionary every once in a while is going to be a big waste of time. Now, this is it for today's lesson. I wish you loved it, and I wish you understood what the reading strategies are talking about, and what the reading selection is talking about. Thank you very much for your time, and see you soon. Goodbye.